Greetings, y'all. I am not hungry because I ate a lot. I am not angry because even though I've had some frustrations, I know that they're not enough to really irritate me to the point of going past the edge. I am not really tired because I slept for like a day and a half, it feels like, just the other day. But I am lonely, and I am specifically lonely, which is one of the main reasons why I do these videos, and the reason why I have isolated a lot from many of my friends and a lot of my family. When I talk about my family, I have more than one, because ever since I realized that there were, unfortunately, toxic parts to my family of origin, I have been adopting new families for myself, and that started at a very young age. And it started in particular with a person, and very recently I lost that person, and it completely tore me into pieces, because not only was that person right at a spot where they were considering possibly doing something I have wanted them to do since I moved to Alaska, which is come and visit me, but he was finally about to make some very big changes in his life, and right at the middle of that, he was tragically ran over by a truck while on his bicycle. And the area itself, the traffic, yeah, I can see it as being an accident. And so there is forgiveness in me for the person who I believe was convicted of a misdemeanor, of bringing his life to an end. I also still have a lot of unresolved feelings because a lot of his last wishes weren't granted to him. And so I think that I'm starting to formulate an idea for myself for something that is coming up pretty soon, because the summers just fly by here in Alaska because there's so much to do and only such a small amount of time in which we have to take care of things outside before the outside gets to be unbearable for our very human, very fragile bodies. And so I'm making this video. I want to talk about him, and I want everyone to know that it feels unfair to not be treated as a sibling to him now, after he has passed, that I very much so was. He has put me into a quandary because of a lot of promises that we made to each other way back when I was still in the throes of my undiagnosed neurodivergence and a struggling queer in Cleveland, Ohio, I wanted to be done with this world, and we made a promise, and I kept my end of the bargain, but he's not here anymore. And a lot of that makes me not want to be here anymore, because I feel him, and I hear him, and I think of him always. Unfortunately, he's not the only person that I've lost. His isn't the only grief that I carry with me. And a lot of the grief that I carry is from regrets of not doing things with other people, not telling them how I felt when my feelings were genuine and my intentions were pure, and that a lot of those people are still alive, and they have decided to cut contact with me because I was toxic for them in some way, shape, or form. But in the many conversations that we had before, leading up to getting to the point where there was no contact, they always didn't realize that I was thinking a lot about them, that I actually was doing a lot of the work that they didn't necessarily think I was doing. But I was starting from much further behind whatever proverbial starting line for the races of life, and I have been trying to play catch up for many, many years. And I still hold space for that person to realize the harm that they caused me by doing something that was beneficial for them, and that I'm very much so open to lots of different possibilities of our future together, because I do not want to leave this place, and I don't want to leave this community. Now, this is our very, very long video, and I don't want to post it because it's just me talking about my grief and my sadness, and there's a lot of that is going on right now in the world, because there are a lot of people who are dying. This is not okay. It's never been okay. Any murder has never been okay. However, there are circumstances where the only thing that you can think to do is to preserve yourself. I have never been a person who has had to be in those situations. And for that, I know I have a privilege and I am lucky. I believe a large portion of the reason why I've never had to be in those situations is because of the wisdom that I was given by being connected to the energy of the world around me. Because from a very young age, I have always known that I was connected to this earth in a very intense and very real way, and it did not make sense to me that I would see all of these other people walking around oblivious to all of these different things that were happening, climate change, the environment itself actually just screaming that we were depleting and ravaging the resources that were at one point very renewable. Very much so. There were other options for us to invest in, but we wanted the most gratifying result possible. And so instead, many of our parents did not listen to us, and they decided to continue down a pathway that had been done before. Now we're at the spot where there is almost absolutely no return. And we're still fighting, and we're tired, and we're exhausted because we started this fight when we were children. We could see. We screamed about it. We yelled about it. We protested about it when we were children. And a lot of people just went, oh, don't listen to them. They have no clue what they're talking about. They're just kids. And that is so condescending and so patriarchal and so dismissive. Children are always paying attention and always listening, and they are open with their minds. They're not closed, they're not bigoted, they don't hate people just to hate people. They see someone walking on the side of the street who looks like they don't have a home and that they might be hungry, and they think, I wonder why it is that we can't help that person. And if they keep that sort of empathy, if they manage to survive everything that the world throws at them and still make it to their 30s, they are in pain right now, because now it is actually the law to let those people starve and to let those people go without houses because they didn't earn it. A lot of those people are actually people who earned it 2 times over, but somebody decided that they weren't actually going to give them the benefit of the doubt, because when they walked into the door, they were at their worst. And so that's all they saw, and that's all they got credit for. Or unforeseen occurrences happened, external things that they had no control over came one thing after the other, and there was nothing that they could do to navigate all of that chaos and still manage to survive. So something had to give, and it ended up being their house. It ended up being their job. It ended up being someone who was important to them. It's my stomach. I'm gonna stop the video because my body hurts. And my body hurts because I am talking about real things. I have always been talking about real things. I have never really been very cryptic. If you actually spent the time to listen to me and listen to the words that I was saying, yes, a lot of times it was me in pursuit of love, because I have loved a lot of people and they have not felt the same about me. And that's okay. I know. I have also missed opportunities. I have not gotten the memo. I have not understood your code word. I have not saw your wink across the side of the room. I have missed out on social occasions because I couldn't pull myself together enough to actually even step out of my own domicile to try and see other people because I was too dragged down with the overwhelm of not being chosen. Rejection is actually very difficult to navigate, especially when you have been getting rejected by the same individuals for your whole life, especially when you finally get a yes from one of the people that you have literally been waiting for a yes from, and then they proceed to reject you. Those are very difficult to grieve. So if you expect me to just be fine, knowing my history, if you've actually cared enough about me to talk to me and listen to me and understand where I'm coming from, and you expect me to move on, you expect me to not carry, you expect me not to want to make sure that every single person around me rises up with me, that even though I can see that other people are still struggling with their recovery and their healing, that I'm not still on their team fighting for them to make the right decisions. You don't deserve me. A lot of people don't, because I am brilliant. This brain does a lot of work, and I never get credit for it because it's never on time.